Thank you, Ilke, for your kind words. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, friends of circular economy. First of all, I would like to thank the Confederation for Danish Industry, State of Green, and Danish Clean Tech Hub for taking such an important initiative to host the Circular City Week here in New York. I'm most impressed by the energy that the organizing team has put into making this an open, collaborative festival for circular economy. Inspiring topics, 350 speakers, more than 10,000 participants registered. It simply shows the importance of and the need for the Circular Economy Week. I have to be honest with you, I had prepared a speech for tonight. 1 hour ago, I decided to put it away. Instead, I will give you an intervention which I learned, which is shorter and more pinpointed. Many years ago, I had an experienced colleague. He said, when you make an intervention, always make 3 points. If you make 1 or 2, the audience will think you don't have the perspective, you don't have a holistic view on things, you are too myopic. If you make 4, 5, or 6 points, the audience will think you can't prioritize, you can't separate the vital few from the many interesting. So you are an interesting group. Guess how many points I'm going to make. My first take is going to be that the understanding of the situation now goes beyond the congregation, which many of us are a part of. Elke said that we are a movement. Well, I think we have gone beyond being a movement. I think the understanding of the need for transition into a circular economy now is broader embedded in the whole societies. From a movement to a broad embedded understanding of the need for the transition we need to go through. My second take is that the broad understanding that each company and organization is that each organization and company is part of a broader ecosystem and value chain. I think the necessary changes can only be achieved with a broad cooperation on many levels. This is what makes it a so wicked problem. Nevertheless, none will be able to be successful alone. If we are to achieve the transition to a circular economy, we need to cooperate on many levels. It's so simple to say, but it's so hard to achieve this. But that is a fundamental understanding. If you stand alone, or you stand still, you need to cooperate to be able to bring the need for transition further up. My third take is that this has been a really inspiring week. And the reason for this is that we have heard so many stories, so many cases, how it can be done. Practical, showing the way, good for business and good for societies. This made me believe that it is possible. The light that we have seen in the tunnel is not light from the train coming the other way. It's the light of the exit point. But it underlines this, at the same time, the need for personal leadership to achieve a successful transition. Nothing comes out of a vacuum. Companies, countries, organizations never cooperate. In the end, it's only people that cooperate. And that is why this week is so important. It brings people together. And by bringing people together, we are able to achieve results. I will end now, but I will end like, have you seen the film Terminator? I will be back.
Thank you so much. What a perfect way to get the choir set started. King and Edward, can I please ask you to come up here to the stage, and I'm going to give the word to our Deputy Director, Kinga Xavo Christensen.
So, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi everybody, good evening, how are you doing? It's such a pleasure to be here. I flew in from Denmark just last night and I brought the weather with me. Yes, it's such a pleasure to be here in person. I have been following our Circular City Week adventures in, I think it's a bit of echo. Maybe I will just whisper. I've been following the Circular City Week adventure for 4 years now, and it's the first time I'm here in person because there has been COVID, so it's been always been online. So it's extra special for me to attend here in person, and thanks all for coming. It's been so inspiring to follow the events of this week, to see the stories, to see the journeys, as you said, the practical examples of circular economy all this week. And some of you may know, some of you may not know that organizing parties behind Circular City Week in New York is actually the Confederation of Danish Industry. How random is that? But we actually represented Denmark over 18,000 Danish companies. Many of them really are adopting the circular way of innovating, the circular way of living, and the circular production of interesting products and services. So we are there also very much internationally, and that's why it makes sense to be here this week and connect with all kinds of people here in New York. But the guest of honor is not me, it's you, Edward. Welcome here tonight. I'm so honored to have a conversation today with you, the commissioner, Edward, and I asked how to pronounce it, Murmelstein, right? And Edward, you are from the New York City Mayor's Office, Commissioner for International Affairs. Welcome to Edward. So, can we start a little bit more generally? And I would like to ask you, can you share with us what the Adams administration's vision is for sustainability in New York City?
So, well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the honor of being part of Circular City and allowing me to speak on behalf of our administration. And I'd also like to thank my office, who has made this all happen, because without my office, nothing happens.
That's honest.
Well, given that I'm in this office only 4 months, I do have quite a bit to learn, and it's amazing to see how much I've learned in this new administration. Again, a lot of it has to do with the fact that this office has been so involved in sustainability and the green economy, along with the United Nations.
Speak up a little bit, I think, because they can't hear you.
Let's see if we can fix this. Forgive me. So, in terms of our administration, I just wanted to highlight the fact that it's all about seeing all of New Yorkers thrive. That's really the focus of Mayor Adams and everyone that has joined this administration. We're very much dedicated in reversing the impact of climate change. And it's amazing. Again, I've been doing this only for a couple of months. I come from the private sector, and for me, this is very, very new, especially when you're coming from a very small business type of private sector. So the fact that I've been able to learn so much about what Circular City has been doing for these years, and in fact what New York City has been doing for not just several past years, but also in the last several months. It's, oh, there we go. So in terms of just green economy initiatives, New York is really the leader today in energy, transport, logistics, building, circular economy, food, heavy industry, and resiliency. And if you hear not just our mayor, but the administration speak about all of these issues, it's all framed in a conversation that has to do with sustainability and climate change. So speaking of New York, the state leads the nation in climate legislation. We are the leader for the United States. In terms of numbers, and I have lots of numbers with me, we have 850,000 green economy workers in New York, which I'm not sure if anyone here has heard of those numbers, but for me that was just
Maybe some of them are here.
very, very impressive to hear. New York State is investing in the green economy heavily, and again, some numbers. 500 million in offshore wind. And you'll be hearing and reading about this more and more with every day, every week. Wind power is going to be generating a substantial amount of electricity in New York State. So we're very excited about that, but not just the fact that it's going to be generating electricity, but all the jobs that are being created as a result of this new industry that's coming into New York. As far as New York City is concerned, New York is spending about $4 billion in retrofitting many of the buildings that we have in New York City. And it's a huge, huge undertaking, and anyone who's in the real estate world will understand what that means. There's going to be a tremendous amount of money spent in the private sector. So while New York City is spending $4 billion, the private sector is spending about $30 billion to retrofit the buildings in New York. Much of this is happening with the help of organizations that are part of the city, such as NYC, EDC, which is the Economic Development Corporation. This is the organization that has brought these major corporations that generate wind power. And then we have organizations like SBS, which is the Small Business Services. And while they cater to the smaller businesses, what they are doing is also educating these businesses and providing them the ability to do what these major businesses are doing in terms of green